So to kick us off, I'm going to be turning it over to Secretary of the Illinois Department of Transportation and CREATE partner, Omer Osman. Secretary Osman was appointed Transportation Secretary by Governor J.B. Pritzker in 2019. His role as Secretary reflects 3 decades of experience at the Illinois Department of Transportation in engineering and management. Osman began his career at IDOT as a civil engineer in 1989. As he acquired experience at the department, he progressively took on more challenging leadership roles, starting at the district level and then moving into executive management. This I appreciate so much. Secretary Osman fosters a culture of innovation and stresses the importance of IDOT leading the nation in best practices, including programs and initiatives that position the agency as one of the most innovative departments in the country. Secretary Osman.
So good morning, everyone. It's good to hear. So 3 decades, 3 years, 4 months. What is today? Yeah, that's how long I've been around. So I was supposed to be the opening act for Senate President for the President Preckwinkle, who is making her way over here. I'm definitely not that tall. I'm definitely not that good looking. So, and with that though, honestly, I would like to extend my appreciation to the Malcolm X College for hosting us here today. This is a beautiful facility, beautiful campus. And it's truly an honor and a privilege for me to be with you here today. I could say on behalf of the entire team at the Department of Transportation and our CREATE partner, a lot of partners are here at the higher level, and a lot of them are within the crowd here. Thank you for doing your part to make Illinois the kind of place that grows and nurtures. It is small businesses. It is DBEs, WBEs, and MDEs. I'd like to acknowledge the IDOT Director of Intermodal Project Delivery, Jason Osborne. Jason is right here. And also, and his staff, some of his staff is here, and also the Office of Business and Workforce Diversity out of Springfield. Their staff is here. They have a beautiful table out, and I think, Liz, you talked about certification, pre-qualification, and all the steps that are needed. And since a lot of you are new here, please make an effort to stop by the IDOT table. As a career IDOT employee who has spent much of my working life dedicated to increasing diversity and equity on project event like this one have a special meaning and have a special place in my heart. By leveling, I truly believe this, by leveling the playing field and making projects more competitive, we are creating jobs, building tomorrow's workforce, and strengthening communities and neighborhoods. That's a win for you, and a win for Chicago, a win for the region, and a win for the entire state. When you succeed, we all succeed. And with CREATE, you are in a position to succeed like never before. And I say that because of the historic investment in infrastructure taking place at both the state and federal level. There is no better time, in my view, to be involved in CREATE than at this very moment. I could tell you, Rebuild Illinois, I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit, added some $400 million additional monies to the CREATE endeavor that we are all care about here today. But it will be up to all of us in this room to seize the opportunity. Today's event, Get on Board, is to provide you with the tools you need to succeed, but the real impact will be made long after this conference wraps up. It wasn't that long ago, I want to remind everybody, it wasn't that long ago we were in a much different situation and in no position to celebrate much of anything. Our infrastructures were literally crumbling around us. At IDOT, we are actually facing the very real prospect and very real possibility of having to close some key bridges. Due to the lack of investment in our system, we were looking at the prospect of being unable to match federal dollars, essentially leaving money identified for Illinois on the table in Washington. But that has changed, and it has changed in a visible way, visible fashion, when J.B. Pritzker, our governor, became the governor. Thanks to his leadership and the vision of the General Assembly, who took the hard vote, Rebuild Illinois was passed. And Rebuild Illinois is a $45 billion capital program that includes $33.2 billion for transportation. I'd like to say it is not only the biggest capital program in our state history, but it is the only one that touches all modes of transportation: roads, bridges, transit, aeronautics, waterways, bicycle and pedestrian facilities, freight and passenger rate, and freight, like I said, freight rail and passenger rail. Rebuild Illinois laid the groundwork that actually put this department, and I mean IDOT, back in the business of building a premier system of transportation. The passage of Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, IIJA, on the federal side in late 2021 supercharged those efforts. The federal infrastructure package identifies close to $16 billion for transportation in Illinois, with the opportunity to compete for billions and billions more in the form of discretionary grant. That's a lot of billions. Like I said, this is a very, very good time to be involved in transportation in Illinois, and a great time to be a DBE. And there are more opportunity than ever to help the governor and IDOT in its mission of Rebuild Illinois. I've said this before, shame on us. Shame on us if we did not do everything we could to make sure we are building the most diverse, equitable, and inclusive Department of Transportation and contracting community in the entire country. We need the help of everyone in this room to make that happen and to make that a reality. Clearly, we have made some progress over the years at involving more minority and female-owned firms in our consulting work and actual construction activity out in the field. These are great building blocks, but we can, and we must do better. I believe we are taking the steps that we need to, that is going to take us in the right direction. We have many outreach and mentorship programs that have helped scores of small firms and upcoming professionals gain a foothold in our industry. We continue to redouble our effort to make sure we are communicating to the public and informing them about those opportunities. I do believe that's how you grow a business in the state and help people build a career. To me, it's all about partnership, communication, cooperation, and teamwork. Those are the qualities that should extend beyond this conference, and you should carry with you throughout the year. Over the next few hours this morning, I urge you to take advantage of the resources you have here today. Ask questions, talk to your staff, talk to our staff, find a mentor or someone to mentor. Build relationships, soak up the information, and learn. Today is an important first step for helping us, our own homegrown businesses succeed so we can continue rebuilding Illinois. Thank you for having me here today, and I know I forgot to mention Commissioner. Good to see you. She is our partner. She has been a solid partner for the department, not only for CREATE, on other projects, safety, and likewise. So thank you for your leadership, and I know you're going to be introduced pretty soon. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Secretary Osmond. I don't know that I should do more introduction to the commissioner, but I will. Our next speaker is Chicago Department of Transportation Commissioner Gia Biaggi. Commissioner Biaggi is an urban planner and designer with experience in private and public sectors who was appointed Commissioner of the Chicago Department of Transportation in December of 2019. Commissioner Biaggi is dedicated to implementing a vision for a transportation system that prioritizes equity and mobility and works to lower the economic and environmental burden of transportation on residents and communities, especially for people in poverty and people with disabilities. As Commissioner of CDOT, she oversees a department responsible for Chicago's roadways and bridges, sidewalks and bike lanes, the citywide bike share system, traffic signals and signage, streetlights, climate adaptation, and new mobility. It's my pleasure to welcome Commissioner Biaggi.
All right, thank you so much. It is great to be here today, and it's great to see that we've got people filling the seats. You know, events like this, they really matter. We talk about partnership across our agencies, partners with the railroads and all kinds of things, but it's actually the partnerships that will be cemented, hopefully here today and in the future, and the ones that have already been built that really grow the pie, because that's what we're trying to do here, making sure that everybody benefits from what's an incredible investment in infrastructure. You know, we often say, you know, so goes Chicago, so goes the nation when it comes to moving goods and services, and that is true. If you think about our influence as a port for goods and services, from what comes over the waterways to what comes over the rails and on surface transportation, we lead. And we lead in so many ways, and this is one way that we are leading, by making sure minority and women-owned and disadvantaged businesses are not just at the table, but you are owning the table, you're setting the agenda, and you're making sure that the projects not only benefit your company and your workers, but this city as a whole. You know, we are, as I mentioned, the heart of the National Rail Network. And, you know, as Commissioner of the Chicago Department of Transportation, you heard a little bit about what we work on and thinking about how do we make those investments in all the things that are part of surface transportation. And the CREATE program is really unique. If you haven't heard enough from us about it, we're always happy to talk about it. But there's no other place in the country that has figured out how to make this cooperation happen, how to bring those federal dollars home, how to work across all of the different interests that we have in making sure that our rail network is thriving. And so creates this sort of 30,000-foot view of that. And I think there's a nice origin story that I won't tell, but it has to do with some storms and a couple of mayors ago, and rail cars and supplies being stuck through the springtime with our great winters here in Chicago. And somebody at one point said, enough, enough. We're going to change the way we do business. We're going to change it right here in Chicago in this region. And so that's that 30,000-foot view that happened that day so many years ago, and partners like Bill Thompson from American Railroad Association could certainly tell you about that history. But in Chicago, we think about not just the 30,000-foot level, but that 1-foot level, right? All of these projects that you will have the opportunity to work on have everything to do with making sure that the quality of life in neighborhoods in our city at that 1-foot level, when you step out your front door, that community benefits. So whether it's reducing rail conflicts and getting those grade separations in place, whether it's the more than 150 community benefit projects that have come out of the 75th Street Capital Improvement Program that is about the rail, but it's also about making sure we have great sidewalks. It's also making sure about pedestrian safety. It's also making sure that the footprint of where the rail comes together, that the snowflake of impact is a positive one. Improving air quality by keeping things moving, reducing safety conflicts by making sure that the rails are out of the way and that we can get people into and moving through their neighborhoods. That is the prospect of, you know, getting on board today and hopefully for a long time into the future. It's your opportunity not only to make relationships and partnerships and work happen that shows the nation how it's done. And that's why we're here today, because we want to show the nation how you make sure that contractors and consultants and people who live in neighborhoods where these projects happening are getting their fair share of the pie. We show them that with this event here, but also in the kinds of local benefits that these projects can bring in moving our whole city forward. Believe me, we get calls from New York and LA and others who are like, how did you guys do that? I'm like, well, it takes a snowstorm in the 80s or something. No, it takes events like these. And so I just want to, I want to thank my partners here. Secretary Osmond at IDOT, an incredible leader. We were just standing up in Englewood a couple days ago or last week, I don't know, Friday, and talking about the Englewood line, transforming a rail line into a linear park that will also be connected to urban agriculture, that was also connected to renovating vacant lots that has that cascade of effects. So I'm very grateful for the partnership that we've had with Governor Pritzker, Secretary Osmond, the county. President Preckwinkle is on her way, as I understand it. The county's been an incredible partner. Sis Keelan, who runs the DOT, really has helped to wrangle us all together in the room and say, okay, what are we doing? How do we make sure we're all on the same page? And so we're in the room with our partners at the rail, who I can't talk enough about, who've really been along with us when we've said, you've got to be here, you've got to have these events, we've got to have companies in Chicago that look like Chicago, that hire people in Chicago and the region, but I'm here to talk about Chicago, but that we make that happen. I also, I want to thank, my colleagues at the Department of Transportation who, get up and do the work every day, our Chief Engineer, Dan Burke, and others who hopefully many of you know. And then lastly, you're here to talk about CREATE and to make these connections. We have a lot of work happening right here on the ground. We have local funding through Chicago Works, which is a local bond issuance, which is not federal dollars and it's not state dollars. It's dollars that we can just push out the door. On top of that, we have an incredible number of state dollars coming our way through the Rebuild program and other grants. I think we got another grant for some underpasses just last week. Thank you again, Secretary Osmond. And so there's a lot of work to be done. We have a number of pre-qualified pools for design and engineering and CM services that are minority and women-owned businesses only. They're exclusive pools. And so we encourage you to get in those because that's where we are sending as much. We've sent over $100 million to these pools that have just been opened in the last 2 years. So. Thank you for being here. I don't want to take up too much of your time because you need to actually be out there talking to each other and bringing these projects forward. So again, it's fantastic you're here. I look forward to working with all of you and really appreciate you taking the time to make this work for you today. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. I think there's been a lot talked about the CREATE program for those that are new, but something else that's a little bit unique today, but all the railroads have brought folks in, and you've heard Secretary Osmond, Commissioner Biaggi talk about different work that's available within their departments. We also, as the railroad industry, source a lot of work independently from the CREATE program. So we have those folks that are here today. I really encourage you to go around and talk to them. We do everything from buying supplies and equipment to engineering work and construction services as well. So please talk to those folks. I am going to turn it over to my railroad counterparts. So I will let them come up and introduce themselves. First up is Herbert Smith. Thanks.
Hello, Herbert Smith with Norfolk Southern Railroad. Wanted to take a step back because we have so many new faces that are here, and this is the first time that you've attended. Just high-level statistics. About 29% of all rail carloads come through Chicago. Nearly half of all intermodal volume, equivalent to, in 2022, 7.35 million intermodal containers moved through Chicago through 19 intermodal facilities. When we talk about Chicagoland being the heartbeat of the North American rail economy, it is precisely that. And so with President Preckwinkle coming in today, I think I'll be brief here in the symbolism of just a couple months ago Vice President Kamala Harris was down by Calumet Fisheries over at 95th Street, announcing a successful award for Chicago DOT of more than $100 million of discretionary money that US DOT awarded for older lift bridges that CDOT managed. And when we talk about how important it is for the stuff that we're building, it's also important who's building that. And so what sticks with me from that event, in which it was about 60 degrees cooler than today, is that the Vice President said the Biden administration is focused on an economy that builds from the bottom up, the middle out, and the outside in. And that's what we're trying to do today with what has never occurred within the rail industry, which is this Get On Board event. We've done about a half a dozen of them. We intend to have another event at Kennedy King College later this fall. So utilize this opportunity to network. And as a forecast of the organic growth that can occur, because there are a lot of opportunities outside of the CREATE program that you can bid on. Norfolk Southern is actually in anticipation of the CREATE WA1 project that Lindsay's going to talk further about. And thanks to Commissioner Biaggi for a permit she recently issued to Norfolk Southern, we have 8 railroad bridges on, adjacent to the Chicago Skyway that we'll be replacing over the next 2 years. And so what better way than for those of you that are interested in bridge replacement projects in any capacity, we have a prime contractor that has 5 DBEs that will be participating on this job. For you to come out to that job site, to see what it's like, to see how the estimates can be put together, the joint ventures that you can partner, because the prime contractor is one of the exhibitors today. And learn about those opportunities in anticipation of these federal bid lettings so that you have opportunities ahead of time. In addition, Norfolk Southern has held back an intermodal lift maintenance buildings that we will be going out to bid here in the next couple of weeks. Here in Chicago, we have 2 buildings. So visit our exhibitor hall, meet with our group manager of supplier diversity, our AVP of sourcing, so that if you're interested in those opportunities, we will share that with you. And network, network, network. Be resilient with your partnerships. Keep at this, keep coming to these events, and keep providing us the feedback that we need so that we can truly lead the industry and the nation in building from the bottom up, the middle out, and the outside in. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Brett Garino, and I am representing CSX here with the CREATE program. It is a privilege for me to get to speak with you this morning and offer a few opening remarks along with all of the other partners and our friends, local officials, so Commissioner Biaggi, Secretary Osman, and President Preckwinkle. I am responsible primarily for the construction implementation of CSX's projects that are within the CREATE program, so it is not often that I get the opportunity to speak in front of an audience like this. Usually you'll find me with boots on and a hard hat out on a job site, but just like Herbert said, we have at CSX have opportunities both already under construction, coming up within the CREATE program, and opportunities that are in addition to CREATE because of the infrastructure that we have here in Chicago. So the folks that we have working us from prime consultants to prime contractors are also exhibitors today. But just to give you a little understanding of how important or how much CSX values Chicago, much of our heart is also here in Chicago. It is home to our 2 largest intermodal terminals at Bedford Park and 59th Street. And then we also have over 800 miles of track here in the state of Illinois. So as much as Chicago is critical to the nation's rail infrastructure, it is critical to CSX's network and the way that we serve our communities and our customers throughout the state. So just really a privilege to be a part of this program, to be a part of CSX and the work that we do here locally. As I mentioned, with our infrastructure that is here, CSX, outside of CREATE, so outside of what our investment and our commitment to that program, or this program and this partnership is, we also invest upwards of $60 million annually into our infrastructure here in Chicago and through the state. And as Lindsay has mentioned and Herbert has mentioned, we have opportunities to share with you today and how to partner with us for all sorts of services that we contract and work with here locally. So very exciting on some of the upcoming work, but just briefly on the work that we do have underway. As some of you may be familiar, last fall we broke ground on the second stage of construction for the P3 project, which is the 75th Street flyover. Inside the footprint of the P3 project is also the 71st Street grade separation project. So we are making hay while the sun shines, whether it's shining at 10 degrees or it's shining at 80 degrees. We are currently in the process of building our shoe fly, so our detour tracks, and getting our stage 2 contractor well underway to start building that flyover. So drilling shafts in the ground, building piers above ground, retaining walls, embankments, pretty much you name it when it comes to heavy civil construction. So that we officially broke ground on last October and are just moving full steam ahead on all of the exciting work, and again, can't say how much of a privilege it is to be a part of that. So again, thank you so much to all of our partners, railroads, the state, the city, the county. So President Preckwinkle, Commissioner Biaggi, and Secretary Osmond, thank you for partnering with us. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to stand up here in front of you all today. And I hope you all the best in the connections that you make. So thank you.
Thank you guys very much. And now it's my privilege to introduce President Toni Preckwinkle. I think this is going to be the perfect segue into Workshop 1 and talking about all of the great work we have going on in the CREATE program. Since 2010, President Preckwinkle has served as president of the Cook County Board of Commissioners, and it was under her leadership that Cook County joined the CREATE program as a partner in 2018. President Preckwinkle's leadership led to Cook County's first strategic transportation plan in over 75 years and was developed to guide where and how the county invests in transportation. It is my privilege to introduce the president of the Cook County Board of Commissioners and CREATE program partner, President Toni Preckwinkle.
Good morning. So originally I was supposed to do I guess the introductions, and now I'm doing cleanup, so a little different role. But I'm grateful to be here today and to support the CREATE partnership. When I became president of the Cook County Board of Commissioners, I came to understand that the county had not been involved in this partnership, and so we bought our way in by making a substantial contribution to the work that needed to be done. I am very grateful for the partnership of Secretary Osmond, CDOT Commissioner Biaggi, Lindsay, of course, from Union Pacific, Herbert Smith from Norfolk Southern, Brett Garino from CREATE, and I want to acknowledge while I'm up here, staff from Stanley Moore, Cook County Commissioner of the 4th District, who chairs the Transportation Committee of the Cook County Board of Commissioners. So CREATE is a one-of-a-kind partnership between government agencies and railroads in the transportation world. And I think that's really significant, that here in Cook County, which is a regional and national hub for railroads, we have this, as I said, unique partnership. We're the freight hub of North America, and most of the railroads on the continent connect right here in Cook County. I think 5 of the 6 Class 1 railroads in the country come through Cook County. The significance of this region means that we must invest in capital projects here to keep freight moving throughout the rail network across the country. And basically, we outlined at the very beginning a $5.5 billion CREATE program to accomplish that. But who really ensures that CREATE projects come to fruition? It's all of you in this room today. The firms that design the projects, the contractors that lead construction, and the trades that build them. I would like to take an opportunity to thank all of the contractor community for your dedication and commitment to continuously improving the region's infrastructure. Thank you so much. If we want to make capital investments in our transportation infrastructure, we must invest in the people that support them. That's why the CREATE program includes education partnerships with local schools to teach students about possible careers in transportation through field trips, internship opportunities, STEM programs, and classroom visits. And that's why we host the Get On Board event, to invest directly in the contractor community. Ensuring that all interested agencies have an opportunity to support and advance our rail network throughout the region is a key part of the CREATE program. We'll all be stronger and more prosperous when there is opportunity for everyone to get ahead. With more than $3 billion of work left in the CREATE program, there are many more opportunities to be taken advantage of. This partnership will continue to create good-paying construction jobs and help sustain the jobs associated with handling freight in the Chicago area. And it helps keep Chicago and Cook County at the center of freight in this country. I'm proud of the progress that we've made, and I look forward to our continued partnership on the projects ahead. It shows that when business, communities, and transportation agencies work together, we can accomplish big things. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to all of our partners for being here today.